Her eyes flew open. She was a strangely configured shiny creature leaning over her, something menacing in its hand. She reacted, spinning her body to lash out with her hind legs, striking it hard on its chest, sending it flying back. Clinging to her hooves, she lunged for the nearest window she saw, diving out and spreading her wings, flying fast and hard for all she was worth. After a time of flying, she came down next to a lake. Her body felt strange, and she wanted to figure out why. I don't know what those creatures were talking about, but she looked at her reflection. She gasped, falling back. She didn't recognize the creature in the water. She took another look. Her skin was the same color, but her face was flatter. Her nose and mouth were separate protusions. I cannot pronounce that word now. The rest of her face seemed the same, but it wasn't just her face that had changed. Her mane was much longer and only grew out of the back of her head instead of going a distance down her back. Reaching up to touch her changed face, she was shocked to find fingers and a hand where her front hooves should have been. Looking down, she also saw two strange lumps between her arms, starting a small way below her shoulders. When she moved her torso, they shook. Glancing down further, she saw that the shape of her hindquarters had changed somewhat as well, and her back knee joints now bent the other way. Her cutie mark was in the same place, unchanged. Her hind hooves were the same shape. Her tail was also as long and colorful as ever. Her wings were so much bigger. What's happened to me? She asked in shock, staring at her reflection. Excuse me, a small voice said from nearby. Yeah! Rainbow Dash leant to her hind hooves, grabbing a large stick from nearby, swinging around warningly the way she sometimes sees Spikes wave a club. She looked around for the source of the voice, and her eyes fell on an overly large rabbit in a dress. Are you alright? The rabbit asked her. You seem disorientated. The rabbit's voice was pleasant, I cannot pronounce that word, young and high-pitched, definitely female. This was a child, a little girl, a filly, even though she wasn't a pony. Rainbow Dash relaxed, leaning on her club. I am also a bit lost. Her stomach rumbled, and hungry. She smiled at the rabbit. Well, you can come back to my house, the rabbit girl said happily. She extended her hand. Come on, my name is Cream, by the way. Rainbow Dash took the offered head. Rainbow Dash, she said happily. Then she saw the winged blue thing floating over Cream's shoulder. Get brass Spike! Quick, get behind me! Get a backbone bone! Where the heck that is? Brass Spike? Cream followed Rainbow Dash's glare. Oh, my friend Cheese! He's a KO. Rainbow Dash took the offered hand. Oh, sorry, it's that one. Rainbow Dash glanced back and forth between them. Cream and cheese, huh? Makes sense. And to her it did. Given some of the names of her friends and family, this seemed perfectly natural. So how far from your house are we? Not far, Cream said. It's just around the corner this way. The house was actually quite close, and Cream led her inside. Mom, I'm home, and I brought a new friend. That's wonderful, dear, a motherly voice said along from inside. A rabbit woman in a monono dress came into the room. Seeing Rainbow Dash, she gasped, "Oh dear, what happened to your clothes?" Rainbow Dash could only shrug. "I don't normally wear clothes." "Oh, but my dear," the woman pointed to Rainbow Dash's front. "You really should. If nothing else, those could use the support, and just wouldn't look right to only wear a top." Looking down, it was obvious the woman was referring to the two bulges that had so confused Rainbow Dash. "I kinda new to all this," she replied bluntly inward and winching. "Oh dear, didn't your mother explain all this to you?" At Rainbow Dash's helpless headshake, she led her into another room. "Here, let me explain it all to you. I'm Vanilla, by the way, Queen's mom." Okay, this guy's done another lot of zeros. Half an hour later, Rainbow Dash was sitting in the living room, dressed and blushing. She had gotten a rather blunt explanation of the functions and purpose of each part of her recently acquired anatomy, and had decided that clothes would probably be a good idea. Vanilla had found some of her old clothes that would fit her well. A rainbow striped spaghetti strap top and blue jeans shorts. They felt a little constrictive and, given what she has learned, show a bit more fur than she felt comfortable with like this. "Are you sure this is alright?" she asked Vanilla. "Of course. Oh, of course, dear," Vanilla said happily. "You have a wonderful figure. You should be proud of it. I admit, I do. I would have killed for a figure like that when I was your age." Rainbow Dash flushed. "Thanks." Vanilla nodded. "Now you mention it, you were lost. Where are you from?" She served everyone a cake and tea. "Ponyville?" Rainbow Dash replied, enjoying the cake and tea. It was really good. "Never heard of it, I'm afraid," Vanilla said, shaking her head. Rainbow Dash blinked. Little town near Canterlot." At Vanilla's constant confusion, she continued, "Equestria?" Vanilla shook her head sadly. "I'm afraid I never heard of any of those places." Cream shook her head and stood up. "You should probably ask Sonic. He's been everywhere and probably would know how to get you home." Rainbow Dash grinned. "So how do I find this Sonic anyway? He sounds fast." Cream nodded. "He is. He's the fastest thing alive." Rainbow Dash's grin grew even wider as a familiar competitive grin appeared in her eyes. "I'd like to put that to the test," she said eagerly. "In that case," Vanilla stood up, sipping her tea, "just pick a direction and run as fast as you can. He'll find you. There's nothing Sonic loves more than a race." "I'll do that," Rainbow Dash said with a grin. "Thanks for the tea and cake, Vanilla. See you later." Heading out the door, she picked a direction and ran as fast as she could.